Hello, Profit Hackers. I'm Jeremy Lott, the Chief Visionary for Foundation Accounting and Consulting. I owned a construction company for about 15 years before making a change to accounting because my accountants sucked. My goals are to simplify accounting for construction company owners, fuel your profits, level up your cash flow, and help you grow in a financially responsible way. So let's go. Hello, Profit Hackers, and welcome back to the Contractor's Profit Hacks Show. This is Jeremy, and we have been talking about a bill pay strategy, and we're going to continue that today by talking a little bit about priority, right? So I had a conversation with my daughter yesterday. As you know, if you've been following this podcast for a bit, you know I wrestled, and that was kind of my life. Well, everywhere we go, when I see somebody that I know and my family's with me, they kind of always make a comment about me wrestling. And my daughter was complaining about it again last night because somebody else had a conversation with her about me and my wrestling. And so she was just so annoyed. And so I decided it was important to explain it to her. And so we started talking, and I pointed out that, look, you know, I played football. I played soccer. I got my Eagle Scout. I played piano. I played baseball. All of these different things. I did all of those things. I was a wrestler. In Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson talks about becoming the person that you want to be. That if you want to become the expert, if you want to become really good at something, you can't just do the activity. You have to become that person, right? So if you like skateboarding, what do skateboarders wear? How do they talk? What music do they listen to? Where do they hang out? All of these kind of things. If you want to become a really good skateboarder, you have to become that person, not just do the activity, right? So that's what wrestling was for me. And I pointed out to my daughter that that's what soccer is for her. She is a soccer player, right? She did percussion all through junior high and part of the way in high school, and loved it. She had a lot of fun doing it, but she did it. It wasn't her personality. It wasn't who she was. She was a soccer player, right? So when it came to deciding whether to do soccer or percussion, she chose soccer, right? Because that's who she was. That's who I was. I was a wrestler. So the reason that I talk about this is because my whole life growing up, I was a wrestler, and I wanted to go wrestle in the Olympics, right? That's kind of the ultimate Super Bowl for wrestling is the Olympics. And so that was my target. That was my goal. Well, I'm also, part of my identity is also that I'm a member of my church, right? The Church of Jesus Christ. I'm a member, and that is my identity. That's who I am. It's not something I do. It's who I am, right? So the expectation for members of my church is that at 19, it was 19 back then. It's 18 now. But back then at 19, you go serve a 2-year mission where you teach about Christ and the gospel and families, and you get out and you serve people, and it's a really cool and really difficult experience, right? So I went to college and started wrestling. And so back then, you typically would do a year of college and then go on a mission, right? Well, I did my first year of college as a freshman, and my skills and my achievements were just growing like exponentially. And I ended that year taking third in conference as a true freshman, and it was outstanding. I was just skyrocketing, right? Then I turned 19. And because of my commitment and who I was, I put aside the wrestling to go serve my mission, right? So obviously, when you're out serving the Lord and other people, you're not spending as much time staying in the kind of shape that I was for wrestling or practicing wrestling. So that kind of went by the wayside and got a little bit of cobwebs when it comes to my skills there, right? I got back and it was never the same. So basically, I had sacrificed wrestling to do this, which I don't regret. I love what I learned and how I grew doing that. And I really like the person I am today. So I have no regrets on that, right? But I sacrificed this part of my personality and who I was. So let's now compare that to paying bills, right? With me, I had a priority. And the priority wasn't wrestling. It was my church. It was my relationship with God, right? And so when we're looking at our business, we need to have a priority. And that priority needs to be paying yourself and keeping your business alive. That has to be the priority. If that's not the priority, you might as well go get a job because you're never going to make as much as you could by working for somebody else. And you're not going to be able to keep your business alive, right? So the struggle that people have with this, especially in the construction industry, is that we are a bunch of really honest, hardworking people. And this idea of honesty includes paying everybody, right? And I'm not going to disagree with that. But when it comes down to keeping your business alive or paying somebody, where is your priority? What does it need to be? You need to change your priority so that paying yourself and keeping your business alive is number one. So if we combine the strategy from the last episode, which is analyze each bill and decide what happens to your business if you don't pay it, and we combine that with this priority where keeping the business alive and paying yourself is number one. That helps us to then be able to go through our bills and figure out what needs to be paid first, right? So when you get paid on the Smith job, what is priority? Number one, paying yourself. So you need to take some money off the top to pay yourself. And that's where Profit First comes in, right? We talked about that a little bit ago. So that's Profit First. But also, we need to keep the business alive, right? So what bills do we need to pay to keep the business alive? And that's usually going to be our labor, our materials, are different overhead costs, all those on the truck costs that keep the business alive. Secondary is paying our debts to banks and things like that, is paying the office rent, paying the office utilities, all of those kind of things. Those things are secondary. Having an office does not keep your business alive. Paying your vendors for materials and suppliers, that keeps your business alive. Paying your workers, that keeps your business alive. You have to do those things, right? So when you're looking at your stack of bills, instead of paying the people that are screaming the loudest or that scare you the most, or the oldest bills, instead, you need to sit down with your stack of bills when you're paid for the Smith job, and you need to pay your labor, your materials, and your overhead related to the Smith job. Okay? The other jobs are going to have to wait. Even if those bills are older, if you haven't been paid, you don't pay them. Okay? And there are some strategies we'll talk about in a couple of episodes about how to get caught up and how to protect yourself using these strategies, right? But when you sit down with your bills and you've been paid for a specific job, pay off all the suppliers and all the labor and all the subs related to that specific job. Then, with what's left over, you can go back and you can pay your office rent, you can pay your utilities, you can pay your loans, all of those kind of things, right? But priority has to be keeping the business alive and paying yourself. If you don't do that, your business will crumble, all right? So go through your stack of bills and figure out which of these bills have I been paid for and what happens if I don't pay each of these bills. That'll help you figure out what your priority is as far as which bills to pay, right? So combine that with the previous strategy and you have your first two steps to developing your bill pay strategy. So next time, we are going to talk a little bit about debt and how that factors into this whole thing, right? So this is Jeremy with Foundation Accounting and Consulting, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like and subscribe for weekly episodes to help you fuel your profit, level up your cash flow, and finance your growth. Until next time, go enjoy some green M&Ms and protect that cash.